Good morning, everybody. This is level 2. It's 11 o'clock in the villages, and today we're working on the beer barrel polka. If I don't see you, have a happy 4th of July, but we are open on the 4th of July. So those of you that have class here at the store, we are open. I've already had several phone calls about it. We are open Thursday, the 4th of July. All right. Get your note cards out because we need to learn 3 new chords today. The beer barrel polka is in the section of the book that has all the chords are white. It's not the beginning of the book. The beginning of the book is all only red, blue, and green, C, F, and G. So again, we want to make sure that our note cards go between the B and the C and between the B and the C. You do not need anything else but those keys right there to play all of your easy play chords. This way your hand gets a hand position and you don't have to even look after a while. That's the secret to playing all this beautiful easy play music, is not looking at your left hand and just being able to feel where your chords are going to go. So what's nice about the beer barrel polka is that most of it is C, F, and G. We will go over the road map because that looks a little scary. As a matter of fact, page 1 is C and G. Page 2 is C and G. Good, excellent. Let's go to the third page. There's an F on the third page. Pretty cool. But when we get to page 4, yes, we have 4 pages here. Line 3, we have 3 new chords. We have a B flat chord, we have a G minor, and an E or an E7. Remember, the 7s are always optional. They are not in the box. They are on top of the box, and that means you don't have to play them. There are mathematical formulas for the minors and the 7s. Remember your sharps and flats. Just because there's an extra symbol next to your letter does not mean there's an extra finger. Okay? So the difference between sharps, flats, minors, and 7s, minors and 7s require 2 fingers. Sharps and flats are, for all intents and purposes, the black notes on your instrument. Those are sharps and flats. So a sharp sends you to the first black key up the keyboard, and they look like little hashtags or tic-tac-toe signs or pound signs. Those are sharps. Now the baby B, it looks like a small letter B. It's actually a little B with a point at the bottom. Those are flats. Flats are like flat tires. They go down. So flat tires go down and flats go down the keyboard to the left. They are the first black key to the left or down the keyboard from the letter. So a B flat is the first black key down from a B. Now this is blocking the way here. So B flat is the third one in the set of triplets. It's the third one. It's a B flat. And you don't play the B. You just play the black key down. So it's a one finger chord, B flat. And it will always have the flat or the sharp symbol after the letter. Now that's completely different from your right hand notes, because if you also take a look at the third line, you have a B flat in the right hand. In the right hand, your symbol for flat and sharp, and it means exactly the same thing, will always be before the note that you're supposed to make flatted or sharped. Now why do they do that? It's just the law. That's just the way it is. So if it's a chord, the flat or sharp sign will be listed after the letter. And if it is a right hand note, the flat or sharp symbol will be immediately before the note that is supposed to be sharped or flatted. Now that's a good thing, because that means we don't have to remember what the key signature is. Meaning that if you're in the key of F and there's going to be always a B flat, they don't just tell you at the beginning of your 4/4 it's going to be the treble clef, the 4/4, and then they'd put a flat symbol on that B flat line, on that B line, and then you would have to remember that every single B in the song would have to be flatted. We don't have to remember that. That's a good thing. Every time you have a flat or a sharp in easy play music, they will put that flat or sharp symbol before the right hand note. Oh, here comes David. He's a little bit late, but that's okay. Better late than never. So the B flat will always be your thumb reaching up to that third black key in the set of triplets. Do not go backwards with that pinky. You never ever want your pinky to go south of that red C. That'll always stay right there. So you just reach up with your thumb, touch it just like you would any other chord, boom, and your chord plays, and you can take your thumb and put it right back in position. The G minor, 2 fingers. You must play minor chords with 2 fingers. There is an absolute difference in sound. If you just play G, it's going to give you the G chord. If you play G minor, it is the letter plus 3 keys up the keyboard. So here's the letter. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's that B flat again. So now it's going to be pointer and thumb on the B flat. Make sure that you keep some of these fingers curled around these black keys down here so you do not lose your hand position, and that way eventually you won't have to look. Resist the urge to keep your thumb on G and cross over with the pointer. Don't do that, because then you're going to get your fingers all tied up in knots. So the G minor, which in my opinion is the hardest chord, here comes Cynthia, it's the hardest chord to learn in easy play, because you have to take your hand a little bit out of position. A little bit out of position. Pointer goes on G, thumb goes on B flat, but you can just touch it and bring your hand right back to position. But do you hear the difference in sound? Here's a G, it's a major chord. Here's a G minor. Oh, it's kind of sad, gloomy, scary movie music type of a chord. So that's what minors do. But you're going from a B flat to a G minor, and then you have an E chord. Your third finger is on the E, so you just touch it. There's a mathematical rule for sevens as well. It is the letter minus 2. So if I have an E and I go 2 down, 1, 2, is D and E, and you're going to play it with your third and fourth fingers. But it's optional because it does not change the tonality of the chord, meaning it's still going to be a major chord. Here's an E. Here's an E7. The 7 chord acts as a moving chord, as a lead-in chord, because your ear hears a 7 and you know it's not the end of a song. You know it's going on to something else. Now, the minute I say that, somebody's going to find a song that ends in a 7 chord, because there's 2 of them that I know of. That somebody just decided to write the song on all 7 chords, and that's just the way it is. And every musical rule is meant to be broken as well. So don't let me tell you anything that's 100% fact. Rules are always meant to be broken. But for all intents and purposes, if you have a 7 chord, your ear is waiting to go to the next chord. But again, 7s are optional. You have to learn the minors. You don't have to learn the 7s. All right, let's take a look at this crazy, crazy road map. You're going to need some colors. I'll get my note card back in here. It is a 4-pager. You don't have to play the repeats if you don't want to. You could just play straight through it and be fine. All of page 1, and page 1 is the part that you know. That's really the verse of the song. When you get to page 2, you have some dots facing forward. If they're facing forward, you just keep playing. And as you can see, you now have two sets of lyrics. So you're going to have to come back and do that twice. So just keep in mind where that is. Every time they hear that pa, everybody feels so tra-la-la. How does that feel, I wonder? So the next time I see you guys, I'm going to say, today I'm feeling very tra-la-la. All right, turn the page. Aha! At the top of the page, there you have your first ending. And 3 measures. You have your 2 dots, your thin line, and a big thick line. Make that a color. Make that a color. All right, where's it going back to? Not the beginning of the song. It's going back to the dots that are facing forward on page 2. You always want to stay in between the immediate dots. Or if you see dots, just make sure you back up until you run into the dots that face forward. Because there are several songs, as you know, that have 2 or 3 sets of dots. So if you use the same color, your eyes will follow the colors, and it's going to make it very easy. So now you do the second verse. Hear a rumble on the floor. It's the big surprise they're waiting for. And all the couples form a ring for miles around. You'll. Now, I put a colorful 2 at the bottom of the page because it reminds you that when you turn the page, you have to go to the second ending. And the second ending is not right away at the beginning of the line. So make the 2 in your second ending the same color that you wrote your 2 at the bottom of the page. Pink 2 means find the pink 2 on the second page. So there it is. And just trace the 2 in the second ending. That's an open bracket. So now you keep playing. Hear them sing. Now, here you have dots facing forward. Keep in mind where they are, but we're now just going to go right through it. Here's the chorus. Roll out the barrel and we'll have a barrel of fun. Roll out the barrel, we've got the blues on the run. Zing, boom, torero, ring out a song of good cheer. Now's the time to roll the barrel for the gang's all first ending here. Okay, so now you take your color and mark the dots at the end of the first ending. Remember what I told you, back up until you find the dots facing forward. You're always going to stay in between the immediate dots. These dots do not send you back to page 2. So remember, colors are important because your eyes will follow the colors. So use a different color this time. So now we're going to go back to the third page, the dots on the second line. Make that the same color. The second time that you play this, it's the chorus, and there's only one set of lyrics because it is the chorus. Usually the lyrics help you. This time it doesn't. You're going to finish the page down to the end of line 4. Put a colorful 2 at the end of line 4. And if you want, you can even put an arrow to that second ending. Now here's the good part. The first ending and the second ending are the same. So even if you mess up, oh well, not a big deal. So no worries. Now that's the technical. That is the technical way of following the roadmap. Any questions so far? What happens if you miss your dots? Nothing. I guarantee you the Oregon police are not coming to your house to yell at you. So make it your own song. If you feel like just playing through it one time and just being done with it, that's fine. If you want to play through the whole thing and then go all the way back to the beginning and play the whole thing, so what? It's your song. You do with it what you want. I'm just teaching you what the symbols mean and the easiest way to find them so that when you get to a song you don't know, it'll help. It'll help. All right, let's do some fingering. Get your pencils out, because remember, if your fingers don't like what mine do, it is absolutely okay to change it up as long as you're not doing poke, 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 poke. Okay? So here we go. G3. Here we have a sharp. F sharp. 2. The sharps are always the first black key up from the letter. And we always try with the right hand. Now with the left hand, we put a thumb on it. We try very hard with the right hand not to put your thumb on a black key, especially if there's a white key right next to it, because it would hurt. So we're going to make the G a 3 and the F sharp a 2. G3, E1, and repeat. G3, F sharp 2, G3, E1. G3, F sharp 2. All right, there's two ways to do this. Because you're playing this at a quick pace, I'm going to suggest that you put a 3 on the G and then just bounce your hand up to the 4 on the C. Normally that's a tough spread, from 3 to 4 from the G to the A. But we are actually going to be bouncing like a polka dancer bounces. So a 3 on the G is going to work. C4, D5, C4, C4, B3. B3, C4, B3, C4, D5, C4. C4, B3. B3, C4, B3, A2. A2, B3, A2, G1. Now you have a rest, and put a check mark in the rest because you're going to pick up your fingers and reposition them. The G eighth note is a 3, just like it was at the top of the page. F sharp 2. Last line on that page, G3, E1. G3, F sharp 2, G3, E1. That's the easy part of the song, actually. G3, F sharp 2, G3. C4, D5, C4. Top of the second page, C4, B3. D5, C sharp 4. There's another sharp. The sharp is the first black key up the keyboard from the C. So it's the first one in the set of triplets. I'm sorry, in the set of twins. Triple black keys, double black keys. So it's D5, C sharp 4, D5, C natural 4, C4, and B3. A2, let's go to the next line. Ooh, another sharp. G1, G sharp 2, it's the first black key up from the G. A3, B4, C5. Remember, when you've got black and white keys all in a row, you must have one key per finger, or one finger per key. You're not allowed to slide a finger from a black key to a white key. Every key gets its own finger. So the C on measure 2 is a 5. Then we're going to do a check mark. G sharp 2. I'm sorry, it's a G natural. G natural 2. G sharp 3. A4. G sharp 3. A4. Next line, F3. Watch that, because again, you're doing a spread between 3 and 4. E2, D1. A can either be 4 or 5, whichever finger gets there first. F2, F sharp 3, G4. F sharp 3, G4. Watch out for this one. Again, you're going to do a little bit of a stretch between 3 and 4. E3, D2, C1. G can be either 4 or 5. Now you want to do a check mark at the end of that G. C4, D5, C4, B3, D5, A2, G1, B3, C4, D5, C4, B3, D5. Let's turn the page. A3, A flat 2. Remember, flats go downhill. So an A flat is the middle one. Oop, just like a G sharp. So flats and sharps, the black keys all have two names, a flat name and a sharp name. The easy play will always put in the one that's the easiest for us, the easy players, to read on the page. So it's A flat, A is 3, A flat 2, G1. Put a check mark in the rest. G2, G sharp 3. But remember that G sharp, A flat are the exact same key. Now we go to the second ending. A3, G2, C5. At the end of that, where the rest is, check mark. Now we're going to the dots going forward. C4, C4. B3, third line, C4, D5. C4, D5, C4, D5, C4, B3, B flat, 2, D4, D4, C sharp 3, D4, E5, D4, E5, D4, E5, D4, D flat 3. Aha! Again, D flat and C sharp are the same key. In one line it's a C sharp, in one line it's a D flat. Easy play will always make it the easiest for us to read. They're not trying to trip you up or trick you at all. Top of the next page, C2. At the end of that long tie, put a check mark. We are at the end of a sentence. Now we go to zing boom, C4, C4, B3. Second line, C4, D5, C4, D5, C4, D5, C4, F1. Third line, D5. Now we're going to do a run uphill, G1, A2, B flat 3, C4, E5. Be careful because there is a spread between the 4 and the 5, but remember you can do it because we are dancing on the keys. Just like a polka dancer bounces, your fingers will be bouncing. D4, D4, C3. You might want to put an arrow on the B. Put a 1 on it. C2, D3, E4, first ending F5, second ending F5. If you do not put a 1 on that B, you're going to run out of fingers. You don't want to do that. Any questions on fingering? If you bounce on the notes, this is what's going to give you your feeling of polka. And I grew up in Wisconsin. I know Jean's in Wisconsin, so I have been to many a polka dance in my day. Every wedding, and I had 36 cousins on one side of the family. Every wedding we had polka bands. And so I learned how to do a polka at a very, very early age. And what do? You bounce. All right, we also have 2 notes at the beginning of the song that are in a measure all by itself. It's 4/4 time, but we have 2 eighth notes all by their lonesome. What beat do we start on? The 4th beat. Even though there's 2 notes, 2 eighth notes equals 1/4 note. So it is the 4th beat. So when we begin, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. There's a garden. Play it the way you feel it. You're going to be absolutely 100% correct. Now, what makes this song kind of hard? The speed. The speed, because they're actually asking you to play it awful darn fast. If you go to song setup, it comes up at 116, and it's going to sound like this. I'm not going to play the whole thing. Yeah, right. We are going to play very slow. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put it on a basic country because that's a beat that everybody can hear. A polka's not a bad beat because it's an easy beat to hear, but if you're going to play it on a polka, make sure you slow the tempo down tremendously. And we're going to slow this tempo down. Okie doke. Let's try it. Let's try it on 90 and see if that's going to be, because we're going to do it in real time. 1, 2, 3. That'll work.
The audio is lower than your voice.
What was, oh, is it? Okay. Now it's not.
No, okay.
Thank you for calling me out on that, Fred. All right. We're going to try playing together. So if we play together, make sure you're muted. One hand is all you need, and yeah, the right hand is probably the one you want to do because the chords are not so hard. If you can do both hands, just put on your easy button. Do not put on a rhythm until after class. All right, let's give it a try. We'll see what we can do. We're going to take it section by section. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Rest. 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 And that's where we'll stop. Pretty easy on that section, right? Yeah, not too hard. Always the question is how fast can you get it going so that you're playing it in tempo with a true polka. First, you got to get your fingers going, and you got to make sure that they know what keys they're hitting, especially when you've got flats and sharps going on. All right, let's take that section over again, and then we'll keep going this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, back to the beginning. 2, 3. Keep going. Two, 3, 4, 1, 2. 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4, 1. Get ready to go to the second ending. Second line. 3, 4, 1. Rest, rest. Keep going. Oops, should be my fourth finger. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3. 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3. Switch fingers. Three, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. There's that B flat chord. 1, 2, 3. Here's the G minor. The E. 3, 4, 1, 2. First ending. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Do a C7. It leads you back over to the third page. 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Three, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Three, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Two, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Three, 4, 1, 2. Second ending. Okay. So don't forget, if you miss your dots and you just go to the wrong place to start over again, so what? This is one of those songs that you can just play forever and ever and ever and just have a good time with it. If you're ever feeling down or blue, this is a good one to pick you up, just because it is a happy song. So, Beer Barrel Polka, and it's not that hard. I know you guys are level 2, but this is a good one to teach you about flats and sharps with your right hand. It's a good one for that. It's also a good finger exercise just to kind of keep up with the speed. And since we all know the song, it makes it easier. What did we do last week? Do you remember?
Dawn,
Yeah, yeah.
this one starts with a C chord and ends with an F chord.
Hmm.
When you start out, how do you make sure you're in the right chord when you start your intro?
That's actually a good question. I'm glad you brought that up. This first section of the song is written in the key of C. Okay? The second section of the song is written in the key of C. How do I know that? Because each section then ends, the first ending and the second ending end in C. At the end of the first section, it ends in C. So you can start your intro in C. When it goes to the chorus, it actually switches to the key of F. This is one that switches in the middle of the song. How do I know that? Because there's a B flat in it throughout that whole section. And your C7 is the lead-in chord. The lead-in chord. Remember, the lead-in chord is always the 5th grade of the scale. So the C7 is 5 away from F, so it leads me back into F. C, D, I'm sorry, go the other way. Let's see if I get this right. C, D, E, F, G, no. F, G, A, B, C, that's how you do it. The seventh always goes back to the root. So if the root is F, the lead-in chord is the C7, which you see all throughout that final section. F, G, A, B, C. C7 goes back to F. In the first section of the song, you see a lot of G7s. G, C, D, E, F, G. G7 goes back to C. So always 5 away from the root. Now, do you need to know that to play the song? No, you do not. The only thing you need to know is which intro should I use. So that was a very good question. If you're going to use an introduction, use a C. You can even
And the
write yourself a
C7,
little note.
and you always stretch for the C7 with the C and the B flat.
Correct. You always stretch for it because you got to stay in between here. It's the letter -2, but you don't want to go backwards. You want to make sure your pinky stays on C and your thumb goes up to that B flat, and you play it in that wide stance. That's how you play the C7. And then if you notice, you're going to an F. Where's your F? Right there. Right there under your pointer. That's why we do everything in between these two note cards. It really and truly works. Good question. Thanks, Lowell. All right, what did we do last week? Do you remember?
Was it Aloha?
It most certainly was. It most certainly was. Except I can't find it now.
Page 18.
Thank you. I have 4 sets of paper clips in here because I do this in several different classes. All right, this is all C, F, and G. This is another one where the first chord and the last chord are not the same. So which one do I start with? And always let your ear be the final judge. 9 times out of 10, it will be the last chord. The beer barrel polka is, it's an anomaly. It's the weird one. This one is a normal one, 9 times out of 10. C chord starts aloha for your introduction. Did anybody try gliding? Did you try using your glide? This is a good song to start with that. If you're not ready to do gliding, just go to your Hawaiian background, go to your song setup, and there will be enough sliding and gliding in the background that you won't even miss it in your melody. So don't worry about it. I'm going to go to the Hawaiian. I'm going to go to the Aloha. It comes up at 72. I'm going to actually slow it down to 62. We have another pickup note. We have one lone quarter note all by itself. So which beat do we start on? 4. And I'm going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And then you come in with your pickup note. No chords are always optional. Always optional. If you need to just play that C introduction, that G pickup note fits right in with the C chord. So you're good. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Lots of sliding in the background. Two, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3. Two, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And there is that other incomplete measure that counts to 3 that matches with the incomplete measure at the beginning that only counts to 1, because music is mathematical and every measure has to add up to that top number in your fraction. So, very good. Any questions? 2 nice songs. Remember that if you're feeling like road rage and you need to slow it down, something like Aloha is good. If you're feeling kind of blue and you want to perk up a little bit, Beer Barrel Polka is always good for that. Always. All right, next week we will do Whispering Hope, another beautiful song. Okay, happy practicing. Have a wonderful week. If I don't see you again, happy 4th of July. Just enjoy the summer. It's wonderful. And play music.
Thank you.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you.